So we had the big election in Texas the other day, and there were fascinating results because on the Republican side, you had Cornyn versus Paxton, and they are now heading to a runoff. There was a third person running as well. He got like, I think, double digits percentage of the vote, which means that Paxton and Cornyn are going to a runoff. Paxton is one of the most corrupt politicians in the entire country, and it was Trump who saved his ass from being like impeached previously. And he's running as like ultra MAGA. Then you have Cornyn, who's like regular MAGA, and he's held that seat forever, and he's trying to keep it. And so the Republicans are about to tear each other apart and eat each other alive until the election. And on the Democratic side, you of course had James Talarico versus Jasmine Crockett. Now Jasmine Crockett hopped in that race late, but I genuinely at the beginning I thought she was going to win. I really thought she was going to win because she had that big name recognition. She was sort of like a rising star in the Democratic Party. She has those amazing moments in committee hearings where she like berates Republicans and everybody laughs and enjoys it. She's a fighter. She's a fighter. She's hyper-partisan. She's authentic. And so she's like a very formidable candidate in my opinion. But James Talarico, he had been running for the seat for quite a while, and he was making quite a name for himself in Texas, like before Jasmine even jumped into the race. And so his whole thing is like, he's like basically like a liberal Christian who uses his religion to want to treat people well, right? Like the opposite of what Republicans do, where they use their religion to try to like start wars and fuck over poor people, and like they use their religion to justify their bad morals. He tries to use his religion towards good ends and positive morals, right? And so he ended up winning by a decent margin, actually, I would say. He ended up winning by a decent margin, and he, of course, came out and gave a victory speech, and in it he said, look, I hope to earn the votes of the people who supported Jasmine Crockett. Like, I'm not entitled to those votes. I need to earn those votes, and I'm going to try to do that. And I wanted to give you, this is a moment from his speech that I wanted to play, and then I want to talk about the broader implications for the Democratic Party with going forward with this sort of Talarico philosophy and Talarico mindset. Let's listen.
And the ability to see a doctor when we need one. I am tired of being pitted against my neighbor. I'm tired of being told to hate my neighbor. It's been more than 10 years of this kind of politics. Politics as blood sport. Politics as trolling and owning. Politics as total war. It tears families apart. It ends friendships, and it leaves us all feeling terrible all the time. We cannot defeat the politics of division with more division. We can't win their game. We have to change the game. This campaign is rooted in a fierce love for this state, for this country, and most importantly, for all of our neighbors.
So I have to say, I think he has a very good chance to win this seat. I really do. And now I know election after election, people think, oh, Texas is finally going to go blue. It's going to go blue, and it never fucking does, right? And I don't know how much of that is due to ballot spoiling, ballot purging, stuff like that. There's been a lot of that as well in Texas. But assuming it's relatively free and fair, I think he's got a good 50% chance of winning this race, okay? And that would be a huge deal, having a Democratic senator come out of Texas. It'd be the first time since, I think, the 1990s. So again, let me read you his quote here. He said, I'm tired of being pitted against my neighbor. I'm tired of being told to hate my neighbor. It's been more than 10 years of this kind of politics. Politics as blood sport, politics as trolling, and owning politics as total war. It tears families apart, and then it ends, and it goes on. But I wanted to read this point here, because I thought this was interesting. This guy says, Talarico is making the correct gamble here. Voters don't replace the status quo with a louder version of it. They pick the opposite. After Obama, voters picked Trump, not a conservative version of Obama. The post-Trump era won't be a liberal Trump. It will be the opposite. The reason I wanted to talk about that is because it kind of hit me like a ton of bricks. Damn, that might be true. Like, that might be accurate. That, the Democratic voters and the country more broadly will literally go for the polar opposite of Trump in every single way. And what is the polar opposite of Trump? I mean, somebody who has the characteristics of like, kind-hearted, empathetic, like sort of meek, religious, but uses, the philosophy of Jesus towards positive ends, says stuff like this about, you got to love your neighbor and help your neighbor and stuff like that. And so I could easily see that being the case. And to be honest, I think he's a fantastic candidate for the general election in Texas. And I think like I said, he's got a decent chance of winning. But here's my concern with this, and I'm curious what you guys think about it, because this is what's been bouncing around in my head. I want to fight her right now. Like, I just do. Like, I don't want to hear the hold hands, sing kumbaya shit. I don't. I don't want to hold hands. I don't want to sing kumbaya. I want these Republicans to be fucking locked up. I want every single criminal in the Trump regime locked up for life. I'm talking about Kristi Noem and Pam Bondi and Stephen Miller and Elon Musk and Donald Trump himself and Marco fucking Rubio and all of these disgusting, vile, wretched, repulsive, cretinous assholes who are on the worst crime spree I've ever seen in my life. The worst corruption I've ever seen in my life is what they're doing. War crime after war crime after war crime, starting new war after new war after new war. Fucking destroying the economy, destroying our place in the world. And we're looking at damn near a trillionaire cutting pediatric cancer research and Meals on Wheels. And that makes me not want to come out here and say, oh, you need to care for your neighbor and, you know, no more politics is blood sport. And I gotta say, this reminds me too much of Obama after the Bush years, where Obama went in there and everybody agrees now the big mistake was you didn't prosecute the war criminals in the Bush regime. You said we look forward, we don't look backwards, right? Letting them get away with their crimes. That's terrifying to me. You didn't prosecute the people on Wall Street. Like, they caused the subprime mortgage crisis and the Great Recession, and they got bonuses after tanking the global economy and screwing over regular people. That's unacceptable. That's unacceptable. So I think part of my issue with this is I fear that it's true, that is what the Democratic base will do, but I don't want that. I want somebody who is a law and order lefty, who's like going to be really direct, really brutal, really straightforward, and they say, first and foremost, we're prosecuting the fucking criminals in the Trump regime, and we're prosecuting the motherfucking Epstein class, and we cannot move forward as a nation until we have justice for all of the harm that was done in this colossal crime spree that we're witnessing every day during this Trump regime. Prosecute all the fucking ICE assholes, all the Greg Bovine boy, prosecute him, prosecute the ICE Gestapo thugs, you know, the people, the person who killed Renee Nicole Good and Alex Preddy, prosecute them. And so I fear that this rhetoric could be flipped for an Obama style, we look forward, we don't look backward. And I'm not doing that again. I'm not fucking doing that again. And, you know, I like Talarico because he often goes after billionaires, which shows that he sort of gets it from a class perspective, which is wonderful. But my fear about him has always been more of the, you know, he feels like Obama to me. He feels like Obama. It's that, you know, like Beto O'Rourke did the Obama rhythm and cadence when he spoke. Talarico, I feel like, does the same thing. There's Mayor Pete does the same thing. It's that like Obama rhythm, that Obama cadence, that like, you know, professorial way of talking, the, you know, we're not the red states and the blue states of America. We're the United States of America. And at this point, I'm like, motherfucker, we are the red states and the blue states of America. Talarico uses this line. It's not left versus right. It's up versus down. To which I respond, it is left versus right and up versus down. I'm sorry, it just is. When you have 85% of MAGA supporting Trump's illegal and offensive war in Iran, a country that didn't attack us, wasn't going to attack us, wasn't a threat at all, well, I'm sorry. There's no other way to describe you but demonic or satanic or criminal. Like, it's just not acceptable. And so I don't want to play these games anymore. I want justice, okay? I want justice. I want the right people locked up. And then after that, we can have the conversations about all the good policies, Medicare for all, free college, living wage, ending the war, Green New Deal, all that stuff. Like, but you need to pair it with a fuck you, we're not playing around anymore. And that's my biggest fear. Now, having said that, it's not like Talarico is running for president right now. So, you know, maybe this isn't as big of an issue as I'm making it. And like I said, I think he'd be great as a senator, Democratic senator coming out of Texas. But I do fear that 2028, this is possible. That you pick the polar opposite of Trump in every way. Whereas, no, I want like a badass left-wing version of Trump who's actually going to go after the criminals on the Republican side and lock them up. And like, I don't think I'm willing to overlook that, right? I don't think I'm willing to go with somebody who doesn't try to lock these people up. We need justice. We need accountability. We need there to be consequences for actions. And so give me a fighter. Give me a fighter. Don't hit me with like the, you know, oh, we need to heal the division. Well, they fucking started the division. And, you know, when we tried to not be divided with them, it didn't fucking matter. They were divided with us anyway. And so like, it's time to fucking stop with the, when they go low, we go high shit. When they go low, we're going to go lower. Like, that's where I'm at right now. So, I don't know. You guys tell me what your thoughts are, because this is something that I've been thinking a lot about. And, you know, but as I said, it might all be for nothing that I'm even bringing this up, because at the end of the day, you know, there's no indication he's going to run for president yet. But if he were to run for president, I would be afraid of this mindset sort of trumping, no pun intended, what I want from a Democrat, which is justice and accountability and going after all the criminals.
Hey y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.